Hey guys. Okay, so today we are going to go to lesson 14-2. Okay, so you did 14-1 with me on Monday. Tuesday, you guys did a review of that. Today, we're going to be on page 195. So everybody go to page 195. You're listening to this in your headset if you're in my class, so feel free to pause at any point. If you're at home, same thing. But we're going to work our way through this lesson. This is about the medians of triangles. Okay, so our goal is to determine the point of concurrency of medians of a triangle, and then use the point of concurrency of medians of a triangle to solve problems. So exactly like it was on Monday, but we're doing it for medians instead of altitudes. Okay, and medians is so much easier. You're going to like this so much better than the altitudes. This is a reminder of what we already know. Remember, we're doing this riddle. We're looking for this treasure. We already found the point 12, 12. Okay, that was the orthocenter. Remember, the orthocenter is the result of the altitudes. Okay, so that's what we were working on. Today, we're taking that one step further and we're going to draw the medians. Okay, well, what is a median? Over here, it says a median of a triangle is a segment from the vertex of the triangle to the midpoint of the opposite side. So we're going to be going from a vertex to a midpoint. Okay, so the first thing that we need to do is they gave you this little spot here for you to prep out to become your graph. So that's what we need to do first. I don't know why they didn't put these coordinates on it for us, but that's okay, no big deal. You're just drawing, that's the x-axis, and this is the y-axis. Okay? Alright, so we're going to be doing it just like the one above it. This is going to be the mark for 10. This is the mark for 20. This is our 0, our 10, 20, 30, 40. Okay? We want our triangle to be in the exact same location as the one above. So A is going to be at 0, 0. B is at 12, 2, 4, 12, 24. Okay, that's B. And then C is at 36, 0. So 30, 32, 34, 36. Now, if I went too fast for you, again, press pause, do your graph, graph it out. Use a straight edge. You can see I'm using my straight edge. I'm expecting you to use a straight edge. I want all of our work to look nice and neat. Okay. That one I guess I don't need to do, but I'm going to go ahead and do it just so we've got it. Alright, so there is our triangle. Now, they want us to have all three medians. So we need to have the midpoints of A, N, and E. We need those midpoints. Now, do you remember how to find a midpoint? If not, the midpoint formula is something that you need to memorize. It absolutely is. But it is x plus x divided by 2, comma, y plus y divided by 2. It's going to give you an ordered pair. So we'll start with, it says write the coordinates of each midpoint, label the midpoints as followed. Okay, so they say H is the midpoint of AC. So here's AC. A is at 0, 0. C is at 36, 0. So to find the midpoint, I do my x's, which is 0 plus 36 divided by 2, comma, my y's, 0 plus 0 divided by 2. Okay, and this one's kind of easy because it's right there on that horizontal line. This is going to be 36 divided by 2. 36 divided by 2 is 18. 0 plus 0 is 0. Divided by 2 is 0. So H is going to be at 18, 0. Now, before we leave that point, that is going to connect to the opposite vertex. So you can see A and C are on the segment that H is on. So it is not opposite. It is going to connect to B. That is a median. You just drew your first median from the opposite vertex to the midpoint. So we got that. This is at 18, 0. Now we just need to repeat that. Okay, so for N, they want us to do N is the midpoint of AG. So again, A is located at 0, 0. And G, is it G? Yeah. Oh, I labeled this wrong. This is G. So did I do this wrong? What the heck? Yes. Y'all, I'm crazy. This is C. Okay, so what I just did is I labeled H the midpoint of AG. So just fix that on yours. We just did AG. That's my bad. Okay, so we did AG to get H. This is correct. It does connect to C. All of that is correct. I just used the wrong letter. So now let's make this C. So now we're going to do AC up here. That's my bad, you guys. AC is at 1224. Okay? Everybody's still with me. Did I lose you? If I did, let me recap that. This one, we did H as the midpoint of AG. We did our math over here. Everything was fine. We connected it to C. All good. Now, the second one, we're just changing that right there to AC. So I've got my A is at 0, 0. I've got my C is at 1224. And then now I'm going to do the math. So I've got my X's, 0 plus 12 divided by 2, and my Y's, 0 plus 24 divided by 2. So 0 plus 12 is 12. 12 divided by 2 is 6, comma. 0 plus 24 is 24. 24 divided by 2 is 12. So that's at 6, 12. And that's going to be the midpoint. So I go 10, 2, 4, 6, up to 10, up to 12. And I'm labeling that N. N for Nancy. All right, I'm connecting N to the opposite vertex. Well, it's on the same segment as A and C, so it can't be that. So it's got to go over here to G. Again, use a straight edge. You see I am taking time to do that correctly and give myself a good looking graph. Okay, last one is CG. C is located at 1224 and G is located at 36, 0. Okay, so I'm going to do the midpoint of that. I'm going to do that one over here since I'm out of space. So I'm going to do 12 plus 36 divided by 2, comma, 24 plus 0 divided by 2. Okay, so 12 plus 36 is 48. 48 divided by 2 is 24. And 24 plus 0 is 24. 24 divided by 2 is 12. I need you guys here to help me do this math. I'm so used to you guys doing it, I don't have to. So our ordered pair is going to be 24, 12. So 22, 4, up to 10, one more. So that is the vertex, and we're labeling that. I'm sorry, that's the midpoint, and we're labeling that E. We connect E to A because it is opposite. And that allows us to see that, again, just like with the orthocenter, these all meet in one single place, which is called the point of concurrency. And that point of concurrency has a specific name as well. You can find that name on page 196. So on page 196, at the bottom of that page, it gives you a math term, and it is called a centroid. It says the point of concurrency of the medians of triangles is called a centroid. Well, that's exactly what we just found. We found the centroid. So, T-R-O-I-D, centroid. So, orthocenter is for altitudes. The centroid is for medians. With this one, it worked really well. We used the table. If you haven't watched the homework check that I posted yesterday, do that because that's going to help you with the orthocenter and the altitudes. And then the one that we're dealing with today is the centroid and the medians. So you can see that they all come together at a point of concurrency as well. Now, just like with what we did Monday in class, they also want you to write equations for each of these. So it says determine the equation of AE. So AE is here. And again, we can use what we did in class, which is y minus y1 equals m x minus x1. We're using that from our Algebra 1, what we already know. We need 1 point, and we need the slope. That's what we need. So 1 point can be any point. I'm going to use 0, 0. That's A. Anytime you can use zeros, it's going to make your life a lot easier. And then you can use the slope. So we need to determine the slope of that. You can do that using rise over run, or you can use the point slope form. I haven't done that lately, so I'm going to do the point slope form. A is at 0, 0. E is at, where did we say that is? E is at 24, 12. So I can find the slope of those 2 points using y2 minus y1 all over x2 minus x1. So that's going to be 12 minus 0, 24 minus 0. So 12 over 24 gives us a slope of positive 1/2, which we can see from A, go up 1, right 2, up 1, right 2, up 1, right 2. So we have our slope of 1/2. Okay? We also chose the point 0, 0. So I'm going to plug that in for x1 and y1. So y minus 0 equals 1/2 x minus 0. Got everybody plugged in. Then we do the distributive property. 1/2 x, that's just going to be 0. Over here, the 0 drops. So our equation is y equals 1/2 x. So our y-intercept is 0, which you can see. The pink line crosses at 0, has a slope of rise 1, run 2, rise 1, run 2. So that is a good equation for us. Okay? Pause if you need to. We're moving over to the next page. All right, so on the next page, number 4, okay, number 4 wants us to determine the slope of GJ. Now, no, GH. Now, remember, these are the ones that I messed up, so let's make that an N. We want to go to GN. We're adjusting that. So, again, we need a point, and we need a slope. It does not matter which one you use for the point. You could use G or you could use N. I'm going to use G. G is located at 36, 0. So that's the 1 point that I am choosing. And then the slope, again, I'm going to, let me see if I can tell what it is. Looks like it's up 1, left 2, down 1, left 2. Yeah, up 1, left 2. So if it's up 1, left 2, that makes it a negative 1/2. Okay, so we have a negative 1/2 on that, which you can see it is negative. It's falling as we go left to right. It went down 1, right 2, down 1, right 2. So our slope is negative 1/2. So I just used rise over run. But again, you could definitely use the ordered pairs and find the slope that way. So I'm going to have y minus 0 because that's y1. The slope is negative 1/2. X minus 36 because that's my x1. Remember, this is your x1, this is your y1, this is your m. Now we distribute. That's going to be negative 1/2 x. A negative times a negative is a positive. That's going to be 18. And then this y minus 0 does nothing for me, so I just drop that. So y equals negative 1/2 x plus 18. So this is my equation for Gn. Now the equation, this one is going to be CH. So change that to an H. Okay. So CH, you can see it's the 1/2 that's going up and down. It's not straight up vertical, so we can't say it's undefined. We can determine a slope of that one. So again, I need 1 point, and I need a slope. Okay, so for a good point, I'm going to use this down here, H. H is located at 18, 0. And then the slope, let me just do this again. I'm having a hard time counting on here. So C is located at 12, 24. And H is located at 18, 0. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is find my slope. I've got y minus y over x minus x. So I did y1, no, I did y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1. So on top, I have a negative 24. On the bottom, what does that give me? 6, positive 6. So when I divide that, that gives me a slope of negative 4. Okay, so my slope is negative 4, and then I have that point. So now I do y minus 0 equals the slope, which is negative 4, x minus 18. Okay, then I distribute. That gives me negative 4 plus, what is 4 times 18? I gotta get my calculator out because I don't know that, and you guys are not here with me, so that's 72. And then again, I can just drop that 0, so there's my equation for that one. Okay, cool. So I have my 3 equations. It says determine the coordinates of intersection of AE and CH. Change that to CH. Show your work. Well, they want us to take the equations and see where those equations are crossing. So AE, that equation was on the first page, which is y equals 1/2 x, and CH is the one that we just found, which is y equals negative 4x plus 72. Now, when you're solving this problem algebraically, again, remember you could do substitution or elimination. But since both of these have y isolated, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to set them equal to each other and solve. Just like that. So now I just did substitution property and subbed in what y equals in this equation, in the first equation, into the second equation, and now I'm going to solve. To get rid of that denominator of 2, I multiply everything by 2 using the distributive property because everything needs to be multiplied by 2. 2 times 1/2 x is just x. 2 times negative 4 is negative 8x. 2 times 72 is, I think it's 144. But let me double check so that I don't mess this up. Times 2. Perfect. Now I need to get my x's together, so I'm going to add 8. That gives me 9x equals 144. Then I'm going to divide by 9. 144 divided by 9 is 16. So that gives me 16. Okay? Then after that, I need to find the y, okay? Because remember, we're looking for the solution. We're looking for the coordinates of the intersection. We just have the x. You can choose whether to plug it into the first or the second. Doesn't matter. I'm going to plug it into the first just because that's going to be easier for us to do. What's half of 16? Well, that's 8. Okay, so the coordinates are at 16, 8. Just like that. Okay, now it says verify that the point of intersection for item 6 is also the point of intersection for GN. Remember, we changed that, GN. So I need the equation for GN that I have right here, which is y equals negative 1/2 x plus 18. And what I'm going to do to check is plug in. 8 is my y value. 16 is my x value. So I've got that plugged in. Sorry you couldn't see that. Here it is plugged in. So I need to take half of 16, which is 8, but it's negative. Okay, and then I'm going to add 18. Well, that gives me positive 10 equals 8. That does not check. So let me see what I did wrong. Okay, well, I messed our equation up. That's the problem. This is not the correct equation. What I did was I tried to take a shortcut, you remember, and not actually find the slope using the ordered pairs, and well, that messed me up. So let me come back up here to number 4. We all need to edit number 4, so I'm just going to come over here, put number 4, and say that that is our edit. And the first thing that we need to do this time is actually find the slope. Okay, like I tried to do rise over run, and that I got the wrong slope. Okay, so that's 36, 0 is G. N is located at, let's see, 2, 4, 6, and that's 10, 12. Okay, so 6, 12, let me double check. Yep, 6, 12. Okay, cool. So now I can actually find the slope, do this correctly, y minus 0, 6 minus 36. Okay, so that gives me 12. And then this gives me negative 30. So see, this is why I got this wrong, because I said the slope was 1/2, and clearly that is not 1/2. Okay, so I was wrong, I was off. That's why it's always really important to go back to this method versus rise over run, because for sure you will get it right. And I bet you what I did wrong was I was not counting by 2's. Remember, I said we went down 1 over 2. Well, they're counting by 2, so it should be down 1 over more. So anyways, I messed it up. I'm sorry. So let's see what these have in common. They both have 6 in common. 6 will go into this twice, okay, which is down that 1, which was actually 2. But 6 goes into this negative 5 times. So still it's not going to simplify down to be 1/2, which is why our equation was wrong. So the actual slope is going to be negative 2/5. So again, we need the point, which was fine. We chose 36, 0, but we need the correct slope. Sorry you're having to do double the work, but that's life. Okay, so that's our slope. Now we're going to use the point slope form. So y minus 0 equals negative 2/5 x minus 36. Okay? All right. Now we distribute. So that is going to give me negative 2/5 x. Okay? And then we have a negative times a negative, which gives me a positive. And then 2 times 36 is 72 divided by 5, which is not going to divide evenly. And we're going to set that equal to y because a 0 does no good for us. So now that we have this correct, now we can redo number 7. Okay, so we're going to redo number 7 by plugging in our solution, which is 16, 8. So I plug in the 8 for y, and I plug in the 16 plus 72/5. Okay, this is when it's super helpful to have a calculator. I did not bring home my graphing calculator, so I'm using my cell phone just like you guys do. So I'm going to do -2, or really just 2 times 16. That's going to give me, that's not right, 2 times 16 is 32. So that's -32/5 plus 72/5. Okay? You don't deal with the bottom. Now that we have a common denominator, we can just put that 5 there and deal with the numerator. So I'm going to make that negative. -32 plus 72 gives me 40. So 40 divided by 5 is 8. Okay? Does that equal what it's supposed to equal? Yes. So we do check. It does work. So this is why checking your work is so important. Had I not have checked my work, I would have just assumed that I had that equation correct, and I didn't, because I didn't find the slope correctly. So number 8 says, explain how the algebra demonstrates that the 3 medians are concurrent. Well, they all come to the same solution. And that same solution is the point of intersection, which in this case is concurrency. Sorry, I don't think you could see that. All right, so it says Al wants to be certain that the medians are concurrent for every triangle. We don't have the geometry software to do that, so we're not going to be worrying about that, but what you do need to know is that it is the centroid. Okay, so it is the centroid. That is the name. We've discussed that. This all deals with the geometry software, so we can't do that at the bottom. So let me recap this lesson for you and tell you what your homework is. Okay, so first thing that we talked about is that the altitudes, what we've done previously, gives us what's called an orthocenter. Okay, if you watched my homework yesterday and I talked about what we did in the homework, we talked about that the acute triangles have an orthocenter that is inside. If you have a right triangle, okay, it's going to be on this corner. And if you have an obtuse triangle, it is going to be somewhere on the outside. Somewhere on the outside. Okay, so acute is inside. This is going to be out on the corner, and this one will be outside for obtuse. Okay. Now, what we focused on today was the centroid and the medians. That will always be on the inside because you're always going from a vertex to the midpoint, from a vertex to the midpoint, from a vertex to the midpoint. To find the midpoints, we use the midpoint formula. Okay? Now, you can write the equations out using our point slope form, just like what we did, and then you can use a system of equations to solve like we did on number 6. Okay? Your homework for this lesson is on page 197. Okay? Everyone is considered virtual today because no one is in class with me. I can't physically see you writing your notes, so everyone needs to submit notes and these homework problems. Okay, so your homework problems are going to be here. I want you to do, oh, we didn't talk about that. Okay, hold on one second. Okay, sorry, we're not quite done. I totally skipped over 13 and 14. We need to talk about the links and the relationship. So I know that we weren't able to use the geometry software to see that, so I'm just going to tell you what the relationship is. It says, what do the relationship you notice between the distance from the vertex to the centroid and the distance from the centroid to the midpoint? So you've got the vertex to the centroid and then centroid to the midpoint. Okay, so this is the midpoint. This is the vertex. That is the centroid. And we want to know what is the relationship. Okay? Well, the relationship is that the distance, the distance from the vertex, any vertex, the distance from the vertex to the centroid, is twice. It is twice the distance from the centroid to the midpoint. So for example, if I tell you that this distance from the vertex to the centroid is 4 units, then what would the distance be from the centroid to the midpoint? It would be 2, it would be half of that, because this is twice as long. From the vertex to the midpoint is twice as long as this distance. So if I were to do it this way, this is my vertex, this is my midpoint, this is my centroid. If this down here is 3, what is the vertex to the centroid going to be? It's going to be 6 because it is twice as long. So this right here is our centroid measure theorem. It says the centroid of a triangle divides each median into 2 parts so that the distance from the vertex to the centroid is twice. The distance from the vertex to the centroid is twice the distance from the centroid to the midpoint of the opposite side. So this hopefully will help you be able to do these homework problems, because your homework is going to be on page 197. You are doing 20, 21, and 22 based off of what I just told you. From the vertex to the centroid is twice. And then from the centroid to the midpoint is not twice. So like let's just look at the first one so I can help you with this one. If EU is 8, E, is that a vertex? No, it's a midpoint. So this is 8. Well, UY, this goes to the vertex. That has to be double that. So that's going to be 16. And then they want to know, well, what is YE? Well, that's the entire thing. What's 8 plus 16? That's 24. So hopefully that will help you with those. So I want you to do 21 on your own. 22 is algebraic, but you can still do that one, no big deal. And then for this, I want you to graph and find those two. 23 and 24 on your own. You can use the graph paper over here to make sure that you graph those out properly, and then make sure you find the centroid. So graph those out and then do the steps that you learned in this lesson to complete that. All right, I hope that you guys are staying well. Hope you guys are good. Y'all have a great rest of the day.